Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff from Rust Bucket Valley Garage. We're going to do something a little bit different today. Since we're held up for parts on the JK build, we're going to do a little bit of reloading today, which is one of our hobbies. In a couple of days, we're going to be going out to the desert, about 20 miles from anybody, and we're going to take and go put some holes in some targets. So I wanted to kind of show you something that you may not have seen before. This is a Dillon Precision reloading press. This one here is a 4-die setup, which means it is a progressive die machine where you can take and do one operation and then you turn it and it goes to the next die, and you turn it and it goes to the next die, and you turn it and it goes to the next die, and then you have a finished shell. Okay. This one right here does have a tube for primers, so everything is all in one. This particular machine right here is set up for 9mm right now. We have another machine right here that we were just running this morning. This one is set up for 223. And what I'd like to talk to you about today is the 50 BMG. Okay, 50 BMG ammunition is kind of hard to get hold of, and if you can't get hold of it, it is really expensive. So what we like to do is we like to take and reload our own. So we ordered a Lee single stage press, and this is a sweet little article right here. Okay, and what we're going to do with this will kind of amaze you. So when you've been out on the range, you will have this. And what you really need is this. Okay, so to get from this to this, okay, of course you need the cartridge. This is an expended cartridge, and you can see that the primer, which is replaceable, has been expended because there's a dent in it from the firing pin. Okay, so you're going to need to take and replace that. So you need a new primer, and this is a CCI primer. It's a number 35, which is the biggest primer I think I've ever seen. And you need a bullet. And you also need the 50 BMG powder. We got this from Powder Valley. Very good company to take an order from. They're in the Midwest and reasonable prices. They will go ahead and ship this. So let me show you what we're going to do. So we're back at the press, and we have the brass, and the primer is expended. So first thing we need to do is we need to take and knock that out. And the Lee press, when it comes to you, will have most everything you need to take and rebuild the 50 BMG shells. You do have to take and purchase a separate crimping die. When you're processing these, they have one die that you take this whole cartridge and you put it in the machine, and then you pull the handle and you force it up into this die, and it forms the case and the neck, and it also takes this this little neck right here, and it flares it out just a little bit, so you can set your bullet on there, and then you can take and press that into your shell. Okay, so we have some over here that we have already replaced the primers. Okay, let me show you how that works. So when you get the machine, okay, you'll notice that the RAM here, okay, this piece right here does take an unthread, because there are other attachments that you can take and use. This is a shell holder right here. For doing other calipers other than the 50 BMG, there's another shell holder that you can use that actually has an adapter for large primers and small primers, and we don't use that for the 50 BMG at all. So we'll go ahead and we'll put this at the resting position all the way down, and then we want to take and thread this die. This is a decapping die, okay, and what that will do is this goes, when it's in the machine, this will go all the way up inside there, and it will take and knock this primer out, okay, and that'll be the first operation that you want to do. When you take the decapping die and you scoot it all the way down into the reloading press, with the handle all the way down, you want to make sure that these just meet, okay, and then you'll get a good extraction of the primer. Okay, so that's set up there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these cases and we're going to use their lubricant on the case, because you really need to take and lube these things up when they go inside the dies. Otherwise it's going to jam up in there, and also it is not going to take and extract the primer. So you must lube the cases whenever you take and use this. Okay, so you have to tilt this slightly to the side. Okay, it goes into the shell holder. Okay, and then you take this and you put it all the way up inside there. Okay, so you notice this white material on here is lube. Okay, so you go ahead and you put this up in here, and it takes a little bit of English to get it all the way up in there. And you will hear kind of a ping. Ah, that was it right there. Okay, so, and then they do have a tube that's on the bottom that collects the used primers. Okay, so we'll go ahead and extract this down out here. There we go. All right, so we've gone and we've extracted the primer out. So that was the very first step. Okay, now next thing you have to do is you have to take and put a new primer in. And to take and do that, you need to take and change the configuration of the machine. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to unscrew this die, and then we're going to put the next set of dies in there to take and replace the primer. Okay, as part of the kit that you get, you will get this case holder that will take and screw into the top. Okay, and you just screw that down, and there's a little knurled area right here. You just put it all the way down until it's just snug. Okay, it's right there. Okay, then you want to take, this is another part of the kit. Okay, it has two rubber O-rings on here. This goes down into this base. Okay, your new primer goes in this area right here. It's spring loaded just a little bit. Okay, that's set. Okay, and let's get a primer and put that in there. Okay, so what we've done is we placed a new primer in here. Okay, and with the recessed surface up. Okay, and then in the top we have take and put the case in there. All right, so we'll take this and we'll put it up, and you will feel when the primer seats. Okay, and it goes up all the way and then it stops. Okay, and then we have a brand new primer installed. So this one is ready to be charged. okay, which means that you take and put the powder in there, and then we have to change the dye for that. Okay, so I have this little scale that is made by Hornady. Okay, and I really like this one. And if you turn it on with the weighing dish in there, it will go ahead and zero it out. So if I was to take this off here, okay, you would see how much the weighing dish weighs. Okay, about 156.5 grains, grains. Okay, and that's how powder is measured out. Okay, so this goes back on there. And what I do is, since we have such a big container, I pour the powder out on a piece of paper so I can really control how much goes in there at one time. Okay, so the load that we're going to take and use today is 200 grains. Okay, the load you can take and use on there varies anywhere between 187.5 to 240. Okay, the 50 BMG is a beast, and I like to download these things just a little bit to make them you know, a little bit easier to handle in the field. Okay, so I'm using 200 grains today. So I'm going to take this powder and I'm going to pour it into the brass shell that we just prepared. So what we've done is we've used the little weighing dish with the little funnel on it, and we've poured the material into the shell, and you can see it down inside there. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the press. Okay, so the next die that you get in the set with the Lee press is the bullet seating die, and this is what it looks like. Okay, and all you do is you take that and you screw it into the top. Okay, I'm just going to take and put it in there part of the way because we're setting the machine up right now. It's nice to have another shell that is like factory ammo that you can take and measure and find out what the total length will be, so that you have some kind of reference. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the projectile into the shell, and then we're going to raise the arm and raise the shell up into the pressing die to take and seat the bullet. Okay, so we do have one bullet that is factory ammunition, and we've taken a measurement off it with our digital micrometer. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take and press this up into the bullet seating die. Okay, so we have the bullet seated into the die. Okay, and we have to take a measurement. Okay, and see how we are. Okay, so we're just about there. So the next thing we want to take and do is we want to take and use the crimping die, okay, which is the one that you have to take and buy separately. Okay, and on this one right here, you notice that this lip right here is flared just a little bit. Okay, and then you will take and use the crimping die just to take and crimp that ring just right around there, and then it'll take and give you a real nice fit. Okay, so we adjusted our die a little bit and we're spot on. So we're going to take and go over and change out to the crimping die now. Okay, so this is what the crimping die looks like. Okay, and it has a crimp in the top here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to screw that down in here. Now, to take and make sure that we get the crimp where we want it, we're going to take the factory bullet, and we're going to put that in here, and then you see it's already sticking out the top, and we're going to take and run that down until we get to where we want to be. Okay. Okay, so what we've done is we've taken and we've run it out of just a little bit, and we have this down on the factory ammunition. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to take and back that off the factory bullet, and then we're going to give this about 1/4 of a turn, and then we're going to go ahead and lock that in. And then we're going ahead and put our brand new one in there. And then, okay. And then we'll take a look at the crimp and see what it looks like. Okay, so on this, we just barely have a crimp on there, so we want to go just a little bit more. Okay. There we go. There we go. We got a real nice ring all the way around there. It looks perfect. Okay. So, and that is how you take and reload the 50 BMG. It's got a brand new prior, it's got new powder in it, it's got a new bullet in it, it's got a nice crimp. If you were to take this out of the box, out of a factory box, you would not know the difference. What I would do after this is I would take and wipe the lubricant off of this and then put it in my bag and get it ready to go out on the desert. Anyway, I hope I've given you a little bit of insight as to what we do when we're not pounding on fenders. And this little Lee press can surely take and do the job. And we hope you have a lot of fun with it. It's not that expensive, $200-300. And it's from our favorite store, of course. Okay. Thank you for stopping by. And please subscribe and hit the notification bell. And you will find out when we do something new. Talk to you next time.